My name is Calum Thomson and I'm the Faculty Learning Support Officer for Business and Law. And my role within the faculty is I provide staff support and training in the use of learning technologies, both kind of mainstream learning technologies such as the institutional VLE and kind of online submission tools, assessment tools, things like that, and also more kind of innovative, less mainstream things such as the webinars that we've been working with. A webinar is essentially a web-based seminar, so the tools that we've been working with for webinars are very much the video conferencing tools. So kind of they come from business, but a lot of the tools which are available within them work really nicely for a virtual classroom. So we're not talking about kind of like streaming YouTube videos or kind of like Facebook conversations. It's really an all-encompassed kind of tool which allows someone to present to a group of users video. They can chat, share their desktop, share files. With the software that we used, we could do short multiple choice questionnaires. We had a good way of kind of managing question and answer sessions. You could do breakout rooms. So there's lots and lots of tools there which kind of work really well for working with small and large groups of students. With the webinar software that we've used so far, what we've found is almost like having a box of tricks which you'd want to have in every classroom if you could. So in Adobe Connect, which we're using, there is the ability to manage students really well. So you can either enable a student to be able to talk or share their desktop or share a webcam, or you can switch that off. So it's a bit like having I describe it as having a magic wand in a classroom. They can raise their hand, they've got little kind of almost like flags that they can hold up kind of to agree, disagree, give applause or laughter, which is a good tool. And that's a good basic tool which is really easy for people that are new to webinars to interact with, but you can do some quite nice little questions and answers. So just asking kind of confirmation questions to ensure that students understand what you're saying, that works really well for. There's also really easy tools for making multiple choice questions. So that can be used for surveying students, for again confirmation of learning, for short pieces of formative assessment to get them to kind of just engage a bit more with what you're saying. So you could see a webinar or a video stream as being quite a passive experience for a student where they sit back at their computer at home in the dark with a cup of tea and they switch it on and they just watch it. You can actually engage them in a lot of different ways using the different tools that are there. Another tool that we found was very useful is there's a question and answer tool where students can still chat within a chat box. And the way that we worked the webinars was we did team teaching, where one of us would actually do the presentation and talk, but the other would monitor the chat and the questions that were coming through. So for example, if Rod was delivering, he would go through slides, present, talk, and not have to worry about what the students were saying, because I could raise things to him, and if a question popped up in a chat box, I could copy that, put it into a question and answer box, and then assign it to him, and it would just flag up a question had been asked. The great thing about that is the question doesn't get forgotten, which can often happen. You know, kind of students half put their hands up in class and then put them back down. If a student kind of half put their hand up, I was in the background picking out that question and then lining them up for Rod, and Rod could cover them afterwards as well. So it makes it very interactive for the students. Another way that we used the tools within Adobe Connect was to allow students to annotate documents on screen. So we could work through a series of slides, and then we perhaps have an activity on a slide that in a classroom you would maybe print off and give to students in the class. What we would do is we'd invite students to take control of the screen and then fill that in for themselves. So it made some quite nice activities and very interactive activities within there. The business school have been using this for doing little revision sessions and kind of distance tutorial sessions, kind of on a limited basis so far, but quite effectively from what I understand. What they've been using in there as well is breakout rooms, where what they can do is assign students into groups and then get them to go off and do work on their own and then come back in. So what the tutor does in that situation is they'll go in and give a short presentation, ask the students to discuss a point, and then split them off into their own areas where they can discuss within groups of kind of 3 or 4, and then she brings them back in. Lots of these tools really do nicely mimic kind of what a lot of staff would want to have in a classroom to teach effectively within a classroom situation. A lot of people sometimes find that the synchronous part of learning is lost when we put things online, because students will, even when they engage with things like forums, they'll go on in their own time. I guess you can sometimes lose that getting everyone together and the kind of social constructivist element of kind of students working together. And the webinar kind of offers that. It offers a platform to bring students together, get them to actually see each other and hear each other and work within a real-time environment. And even if it's for half an hour, I think that kind of experience that students have within a classroom, being able to replicate that online is really quite powerful.
If you've enjoyed this Good Practice Exchange film, you can find more on our website. Go to celt.mmu.ac.uk/good practice. Thanks for watching.